Hey everybody. Let me turn this light. I keep forgetting that. Hey everybody, this is Javi. How are you? I am doing this live video because I want to do a discussion on reciprocity and the importance of reciprocity. For those who do not know me, I'm a resident psychic and intuitive medium for Ashworth Scott Life Sculpting. Have been for about a year or so. So I also like focus on inner child energy and inner child therapy. Always connected to the inner child. Always talking about how it's very important to understand the dynamics in regards to generational and historical trauma and how it affects us as children, and how we can actually rewrite our stories by dismantling all that we've learned through generational and historical trauma. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about the importance of reciprocity, the importance of a very healthy give and take in regards to relationships and friendships. The reason why I'm saying this is because a lot of us, when we are, growing up as kids, especially in abusive households, like I noticed that a lot of us. I should put the microphone in my face. I figured that, and I hope y'all hear me too. A lot of us have the tendency to be in relationships or be entangled in relationships where there is no real reciprocity. There is no give and take. There is no mutual respect or mutual exchange in energy, or mutual exchange in love, or just no mutual exchange whatsoever, and it just seems to be one-sided. And we learn, like through the stories that we tell ourselves anyhow, that we don't deserve that reciprocity. We don't deserve we don't deserve to be picky in regards to our friendships and our relationships, especially if you're like one of those kids, or was one of those kids who didn't have a lot of friends growing up, didn't have a lot of healthy relationships growing up. In fact, we learn about our relationships through our peers and through our family and how they treat us. And so when we continuously engage in relationships or engage with people who have no intention of showing reciprocity towards us, what ends up happening is that we end up growing up as adults expecting those things, right? And without those lack of boundaries, and without those that definition of what a boundary is, we end up putting ourselves in a position of being manipulated or used. I just read an article about people pleasing and fawning. Fawning is when you praise an abuser enough for them to show you a little bit of affection, but then before the relationship becomes stable, they withhold emotional support and withhold affection, and it's just another way to control the relationship. And so that's a huge example of the lack of reciprocity, especially if you're like one of those kids who people pleased in order for the relationship to be maintained, or to to be in order for the relationship to stay intact. Okay, and so hey, to the person who just popped on, how are you? I'm talking about reciprocity and how it's important for us to have reciprocity, and especially during our healing. And so we end up growing up like with those type of things, with those type of problems in regards to like reciprocity, and feeling as if we don't deserve it, and feeling as if we're never going to get it. And I'm here to tell you that that's not the case at all. It's just that what happens is that when we're going through the healing process, or before we even go through the healing process, we pretty much have this we have this tendency to do so much for other people, be there so much for other people in hopes that they love us anyway. Okay? And a lot of the people who are not going through the healing process, many of the people that we end up like being associated with, they end up like reenacting a lot of our abuse by being there for you, gassing you up, complimenting you, love bombing you, and things like that. And then before the relationship becomes stable, they end up pulling away or being very cold towards you and acting as if they don't even want to know you, right? Because we're so used to love being earned, right? Earned, we end up ignoring or distancing ourselves from people who really do love us and really do care about us and really do want to have a stable relationship with us. So if y'all have any comments or anything, like, by all means let me know. And for those who just don't know, like, I'm here also not only because I am a resident psychic and intuitive medium who provides services through Asheville Scott Life Sculpting, but Nikila is out for the count. She's down for the count for now. She's recovering from a really bad car accident, and so I volunteered to come through and interact with the group and interact with people, and I was going to do that anyway, and this is an opportunity for me to do it. So if anybody watches the video later on and resonates with it, by all means, go ahead and do that. But let me know. But basically, this whole video is about reciprocity and how you deserve reciprocity and how you deserve, unconditional love, unconditional care, unconditional acceptance. You know what I mean, from the people who really do care about you. And once you start doing the healing process, you start to realize that a lot of your relationships that you've had in the past they were reenactments of your relationships that you had with your parents or people that you counted on when you were growing up. Okay, so here's the thing, here's a reflection question for you, in regards to reciprocity. What does reciprocity look like to you? What does it look like to you? And when you think about what reciprocity looks like to you, did you have any of those qualities, or did you have any of those definitions or examples of reciprocity growing up in your family? Did you have that growing up in your family? If so, that's awesome. But if not, what did it look like? What did it look like in comparison to what you are looking for? And if you're seeing that there is a complete contrast between what you've experienced and what you're looking for in regards to reciprocity, then chances are you did not have a healthy relationship with boundaries, or those boundaries were not set up, or you did not have a good example of what reciprocity is. And so that is something that is to be reflected on while you're doing your healing journey, because especially if you're a people pleaser, and especially if you're one of those folks who just was just also chasing relationships and chasing people who are emotionally and even physically distant from you, or energetically distant from you, and then playing all these mental and emotional games with you in order to see whether or not you'll stick around. Okay, so this is something to be mindful of when you are thinking about what reciprocity is in regards to what your relationship with people. Did you always, and this is another question, did you always feel like your relationships are to be earned? Did you always feel like their love was supposed to be earned? Did you always feel like no matter what you did for this person, it was never enough? You were never enough. Whenever you're around this person, and when you're around people who really care about you, how do you react? How do you react to that? How do you react to people really caring about you? I know for me, I have realized that doing my healing and doing my stuff, I realized that a lot of the relationships I chased and wanted, they were the type of relationship that did not require reciprocity. And I didn't know what that was because I was so busy chasing these relationships. I was so busy chasing, whether it be like a platonic relationship or a romantic relationship. I chased that because love had to be earned. Real love was earned. Real love was given to you after so much trials and tribulations, so many trials and tribulations, and you be in the trenches. That's what love looked like. It was something that had to be earned. No one just gave it to you freely. And anybody who liked me or approached me as if they wanted to be close to me, I pretty much backed away from it very quickly. Because who are they to give me any sort of love, the love that I really do deserve? But with the mindset I had, I didn't have that. I just did not believe or feel that true love was something that was just given freely. I did not have examples of that growing up. I had an aunt who was just like that. Was a person who was always love bombing me, telling me how much they loved me, was always making me laugh, was always having a sense of humor, was always like a guiding light to me, and I just looked up to them because they were, to me, they were very strong, right? They were extremely strong. But what I didn't realize is that whenever that relationship was stable, they pulled away from me. They were they were emotionally distant, and they were actually verbally abusive. This is also the same aunt who sexually abused me. This is also the same aunt who, for years, groomed me and made sure that I was basically a carbon copy of her. It wasn't until I began therapy and basically tore away from that relationship physically, literally moving to the state I'm in now, that I realized that I was sexually abused. And actually talked. I started hanging out with, and this is how knee deep that relationship was as far as the dysfunction of it. Even when I distanced myself physically from my abuser, one of them anyway, I still felt as if I was not sexually abused. Because it wasn't, in my mind, it wasn't forced on me. I volunteered to put myself in that situation, not knowing that I was extremely traumatized. Not knowing how knee deep I was is in the abuse, the mental and emotional and the psychological manipulation, the gaslighting I went through, just my self-esteem being low, me being shameful of the stuff that I went through. I really thought that I caused that, therefore I was not sexually abused. I didn't know what reciprocity was. I didn't know what that was. I didn't know what that looked like because I never had it in my family. And so now I'm an adult chasing these fucked up relationships, platonic or otherwise, and thinking that I was so fucked up that I didn't deserve better. Regardless of what I did, I didn't deserve better. And as a result of not knowing about boundaries, I crossed the boundaries. I'm not innocent. There's nothing innocent about me. Let's be real. I'm not going to sit here and use my trauma as an excuse to negate responsibility or not hold myself accountable. I did cross boundaries with people, especially when it came to sex. I didn't like sexually assault anybody or anything like that. That's not the case at all. But I did push myself in this narrative of wanting to be in a relationship onto other people. I wanted to be with other, like, this person once I attached myself to that person. And there was just no reciprocity once they got what they wanted. They were done with me once they got what they fucking wanted. And in some cases, I was done with the person once I got what I needed. Quote unquote, needed. So reciprocity it requires boundaries. And I did not have those things. And I know I am not the first one or the only one to put myself in to go through this. Because when people go through trauma, and when people go through a lot of growing pains in regards to the healing process, they will realize that a lot of what they went through, other people have gone through it. They're not alone. And when we start talking about these sort of things, and when we start talking about telling our stories, we're able to take the power away from those stories. The shame and the guilt that comes with those stories never. They never, I shouldn't say never, but they lose power. The power is reduced because you're not sitting here in the dark. You're not sitting here by yourself, isolating. You're not sitting here by yourself thinking that no one's going to care about you or even want to think about you because of something that you've done or have gone through because of your trauma. You're not the only one. That's one thing about telling these stories, is that you realize that your story isn't unique and your story isn't special. And the same thing about your stories around reciprocity. I'm pretty sure that everything that you have gone through, someone else has gone through it. So this is what I have to say about reciprocity. This is a time for us to do those reflection exercises, like, what does it look like? What does reciprocity look like to you? I know what it looks like for me. Someone who is very willing to love me unconditionally. Someone who is willing to spend time with me. Someone who is willing to share their energy with me in regards to, like, telling stories, whether it be about trauma, or like sharing their day with me. Someone who is really invested in the relationship I have with them, and vice versa. Someone who isn't going to judge me when I'm down and out. Someone who isn't going to, that's what, like, being in a friendship with someone, like having a strong friendship, like not like using one another, or we have healthy boundaries. We spend time with one another. We do for one another and don't expect anything extravagant. And if we do something that is like extravagant, we know that we deserve it. There's no judgment on either end. There is just nothing but pure, unadulterated, and unconditional love. You can actually be vulnerable with this person, and they can be vulnerable with you. That's what that looks like to me. Straight up vulnerability and a friendship that is non-judgmental. And if they do give me any sort of constructive criticism, or I were to give a constructive criticism, it's constructive. Reciprocity isn't supposed to be non-existent. Friendships aren't supposed to be dirty. Like, basically, like, requiring and telling people what you require within a healthy standard. Because some of us, we have these super high standards in order to avoid hurt. Let's be real. Having those super high standards, that's a trauma response. But reciprocity is supposed to be a beautiful exchange between two people who are doing their work, who are healthy, who know their own power, who are not trying to take away, your power or vice versa. It really is a healthy exchange. I don't like the term give and take. Reciprocity is about a healthy exchange between all parties involved. And there is no hidden agenda. There's no dangling carrot or some sort of guilt trip that is going to be applied to the relationship. It really is a healthy exchange. True friendships are a true gift. They're a true gift. And this is the time to ask yourself, are you getting, when it comes to your friendships, is there reciprocity? And if so, or if not, what does that look like? Hey, Tanae, how you doing? How are you? I'm glad you're here. Welcome. I was just having a conversation about reciprocity, and the question I presented to those who are watching or will be watching: what does reciprocity look like to you? What does it look like to you? And did you have, and whatever it looks like to you now, seriously, what you are looking for as far as reciprocity, what it looks like now, did you have any of that while you were growing up? So, thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. So, I'm trying to figure out if there's anything else I am to say about this. But yeah, like, even with your friendships, like, ask yourself whether or not those friendships are something to. And so today said equal love, equal exchange of love and communication. Yes, communication is key. When we were growing up, a lot of people in our families, especially like in a lot of families, that are struggling with generational and historical trauma, communication is not very strong at all. There's like this element of silence, this element of secrecy that comes with all that. And listening. Yes, listening. So when we are adults and we're surrounded by people who are not about that equal exchange of what it looks like, then we have to evaluate our relationships as we are growing through, or as we're going through the healing journey. We're going through the healing journey. So, I pretty much like that's what reciprocity looks like. So yeah, I'm glad that people are here. I'm glad that people will resonate with this video when it drops. That's all I have, actually, about reciprocity. That's all I have. And the article that I am talking about, I'll definitely drop it here in the comments when I'm done here, when I get off this live. But it's a powerful article. Powerful article about fawning and people pleasing, and how there's like this lack of reciprocity, and how we can earn that reciprocity, and how we can like value the relationships that we have. So today said, thank you for holding space in Nikita's absence. No problem. We appreciate you. I appreciate you as well, and blessings. Thank you so much. Yeah, so long story short, like, it's a process. It says so in the article. It's going to be a process because we're so used to certain things, certain ways of behavior from other people and as well as ourselves. But also think about this. Among your friends, who are the people who show you the most love automatically? Who are the people who stuck with you through thick and thin and did not expect anything in return other than love and respect from you? Like, they loved you right away, they resonated with you right away. Who are those people? And if you are and how do you react to those folks? How do you react to them? Because those are more than likely, those are the people that you are supposed to be rocking with. Those are the people who are going to be ride or dies for you. Those are the people who are going to not play you or manipulate you or withhold their emotions and their stories and their energy from you. Those are the people you are supposed to have in your life. In fact, those people are your tribe. Not the people who are out here like doing whatever, and playing all these fucking games. No, you have a tribe already. You're just not paying attention to them. And I had to learn that. I'm learning that now. I was not paying attention to my true tribe. I was paying attention to the people who are just out here withholding stuff and just using their status and their social status and all kinds of stuff to do the most. Because I wanted them to acknowledge me. And I realized, like, right now, last night, that I don't deserve that. I deserve to have people in my life who really give a fuck about what I'm doing and give a fuck about me and my well-being. Excuse me, because by the end of the day, that's my tribe. That's my tribe. And if you are watching this video or watching the replay, I really do. I made this, resonate with you in some way, shape, or form. Made this resonate with you. The message that we are receiving here. So that's all I have. Thank you so much for listening. If you are interested in getting a reading or booking a reading, you can go to Nikila's website and just request me. Just click on the link, request me, and I am very much available. If you are, I also have the Inner Child Collective, which focuses on the inner child, trauma. I emphasize, using your inner child in order to, grow and heal from generational and historical trauma. And I do a lot of storytelling and a lot of things pertaining to storytelling in order for us to rewrite those negative stories that we have in our mind, to dismantle those stories, to get rid of them and replace them with stories that are very affirming, stories that are very much cleansing us of the impact that trauma has had on us. So, hey Rio, what's up? So, thank you so much for please, like, if you if you're not following Nikila on YouTube, by all means do so. If you're not following me or subscribe to my channel on the Inner Child Collective, by all means do so. You can also follow me on social media. I am on Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. Right? So, yes, I'm really tired. And I'm also getting that too, like, not only do I have some reciprocity for other people, but I have reciprocity for your body as well. Your body is your vessel, and it is the thing that keeps us going. And so, my vessel is saying, like, I'm tired, so I'm definitely going to do whatever I can to not burn out here. In addition to like, because I am, in addition to filling in for Nikila, I do stuff outside of Astral Scout Life Sculpting as well. So I am honoring my body by allowing it to rest. But thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate y'all. And please, like, look me up on Nikila. I want to say it's NikilaAsha.com. Either way, I'll post the link so you can book me. So until next time, peace and thanks for watching.